some sort of something that said Wally Opus. All right, there's the intro music.
This is it?
This is it.
You made it, right?
Yeah. During, I interviewed Chloe a couple episodes ago, and it started playing and she got quiet, and I was like, what? She's like, oh, I thought you were going to like rap or sing. I'm like, can you imagine opening up the show with a rap?
I did see she was on here. I was like, okay, I'm going to check it out. And I was like, I'm going to go on there in 2 weeks, and I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know any questions you're going to ask, because then I'm going to be thinking about it.
Right.
And then I'm going to come be like, okay, I'm going to say that. You know.
I know.
It's just how your brain works. I was like, I
almost sent you the questions to be like, here, if you want to know what we're going to talk about, but I'm glad I didn't. Because I feel like I could kind of get an interesting angle from knowing you for so long and being so close to you, and kind of get an interesting angle of your journey to where you are now. So, okay, let's jump in. I got a little intro I'm going to do.
Okay.
All right. Hello, miners, and welcome to the fifth episode of Mining in the Foothills, where I am on the search for dialectic gold with doers from around the Midwest. I am Wes from Wally Opus, and my guest today is my good friend Cooper, a fine artist who's reimagining the genre of still life, bringing a fresh new style to represent the beauty of nature. He has collaborated on projects with global brands such as Puma, WeTransfer, Adidas, and the Do Tour, to name a few, and with recording artists such as Whethan, Paradox, and Quiles, to name a few. Cooper's currently represented as a fine artist by the Maddox Gallery, a London-based art brokerage that owns renowned galleries in London, LA, and Switzerland. This past week, Cooper wrapped up a year of painting 27 new works for his first London show with Maddox, scheduled to take place on October 13th, 2022, about a month away. This guy is one of the hardest working, most persistent, and most committed people I have the pleasure of calling my friend. He, in addition to all of the accolades, he also served as my best man at my wedding and gave a great little speech, and has been my bonehead brother for more than 20 years. Cooper hails originally from Fort Branch, Indiana, but is currently based in Evansville, where he works and lives with his pup and his girlfriend. So cheers. Thank you for doing this.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So you're coming off a huge live paint battle win this past Sunday in Indianapolis with Secret Walls. You also just this week, if I'm not mistaken, wrapped up 27 canvases for Maddox.
Wednesday.
This past Wednesday, so today's Friday, so that was 2 days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago.
So how does it feel? How do you feel this morning? Has it sunk in yet, or are you still kind of in work mode? Do you feel like you need to get to it?
Yeah, literally. Wednesday night late, probably 11, I put the last touches on. So, and then it was like, I had like a bottle of wine, and I kind of just sat there, for an hour and just kind of like looked around and stuff, and then woke up Thursday and it was like, okay, like it's just what I do. What am I going to do?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just my day to day. That's how I operate. It's like, okay, and then I already have probably seven to eight pieces already up and going.
Okay.
That one of my assistants has, prepped. So these can go for later on in the future for things that are going to be going on. So it's kind of like I just,
it just keeps going.
Yeah, I mean it. It never ends. So, and then with more opportunities coming up that Maddox are bringing to the table, and then after the show and stuff, we had a big call yesterday about things and stuff like that. So, but
for what's coming up after the London show.
Yeah, and then planning the show week, planning after this and that, but. It feels good, you know? It's like no matter what happens, you can't control the outcome. All I can say is I did it, and I did it to the best of my ability. I don't have any regrets this year. I sacrificed a lot of time and a lot of stuff, and this is what I was going for, and this is what I did. I finished the work. You got to finish to be a good artist, and that's all I can do.
God, I remember when you set out. Was it a year ago already? Like, was it a year ago, or was it not quite a year ago?
Well, last October is when they flew me over. So then I came back. I worked on a piece for Art Basel in December.
Yes.
And then
for Maddox or underneath Maddox for the first time.
Yes. So that was kind of our first group showing together.
Yes.
And then I think I had maybe like a couple of commissions at the end of the year. Okay. And then Christmas and the holidays came. And then we came back from Missouri, I believe, January 2nd. And then that's when I started. So I was thinking about it yesterday. So it's almost right at 9 months.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow. Which is my longest time to work on a project. If you got to think about it, it's just one project. That's what it is, with a lot of moving pieces.
And like 27 divided by 9, I think that's 3. I never was good at math, but I'm thinking like that's 3 canvases a month.
So,
and these are not no fuck around canvases.
I actually did 29.
Oh shit! Okay.
So, literally, dude,
they're only taking 27. Or
no. We're on like the contract and the paper says 27, and they wanted me to do some like works on paper and drawings and stuff, and I kind of like did throughout like a little bit here and there. I just haven't really sat down and had the time to like really focus in and hone on that. You know, people aren't coming to the show for my drawings right now. They're not.
Which is it would be displayed as a separate.
It would be displayed downstairs, kind of, you know, where like the bathrooms
cheaper,
are. Yeah. They'd be
smaller.
real cheap and things like that. So I talked to them and I was just like, I've tried. I feel like I'm wasting my time, this and that. And I think I had like a week or a week and a half left, and then I called off the drawings.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, a week and a half left. And then I did 2 more canvases on top, and I said, hey, I got 2 bonus canvases. So that'd be a good look for me. They wouldn't be mad. And you have to fill the gallery. Like if they're not going to be on this wall, you have to have something to fill the gallery space.
Gotcha.
So
cranked out 2 more additional pieces.
Yeah. So and one of them was actually bigger than any other canvas. I think it was like 80 inches by 100 or something like that. And that's one of my new kind of like these speaker stacks I'm calling them.
Yes, yeah.
So I was like, and I was thinking like, okay, maybe Art Basel, I'll, you know, put that in. And I was just like, dude, do it now. Like, what am I it's finish it and do it now.
And by December you'll be on to something.
Yeah. So 29 works actually.
Holy hell. So you finished them Wednesday night. Did you mail them yesterday or did they come pick them up?
No, so they were supposed to pick them up Tuesday morning.
Oh.
And the shippers canceled last minute due to some reasons. I don't know why. So I'm actually glad because I needed those extra 2 days.
Yeah.
But so now they have it scheduled for like September 19th with another company and stuff. So, but I'm finished. I'm not touching anymore. They're wrapped up. You know.
But like at this point in your career and working with this gallery, you literally finish the canvases at your studio, at your place. You wait until they send over a shipping guy who picks them all up. And then from there, you just show up in London next month, and it's all done,
all displayed. Everything's up.
Yeah.
You know, we've mapped out.
It's amazing.
We've mapped out all the gallery. Yeah, it was in the contract they sent over before we did this. It was like, you know, as soon as the work leaves my door, you know, it's on them. Whether, you know, the truck gets stolen, the truck disappears, the truck burns up in a fire. Yeah. You know, so there was all kinds of different stuff in the contract, you know, that I never even really thought about before. Like, if there was, you know, a storm at my studio or something, we'd figure out like it wouldn't just be on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was actually really nice and cool to just kind of see them. Like, oh, okay, like this is nice, you know, like I go through hell all year. Then as soon as they go out that door, it ain't on my back. The stress just goes off. Like, and then I show up and they're magically appeared perfectly with everything else, you know, so.
Don't you think too, like, I feel like a lot of people, I want to say younger people, but not necessarily, but it happens in music too, where people see an artist working with a record label and they're like, I'll never do that. I'll be independent.
Yeah.
And maybe that happens in the art world too.
Yeah.
You know, like I know you were independent for a long time, so you had all of the cost, all of the liability, like scraping, it was all on you.
You mean scraping by?
Yes, exactly. And like, but don't you feel like the like to grow at this level. I mean, it's like, dude, you partnering with these companies, it's not it's not just they're raping you and taking all your money. It's the opposite. It's like, dude, we're gonna make way more money, and they're supplying shit. They got the liability too. They're taking care of all this shipping stuff. I mean, can you imagine just the logistics of like, okay, you have to hire a company to ship them to London, and like what happens when they get to London? Like that's such a logistic, like to have all that taken care of. It's like, this is kind of nice.
They can provide so many resources that you can't provide on your own. You know, I mean,
not at 27 canvases, not at the scale of that. Maybe like one canvas.
I mean,
ship to
Miami, and then I, figured out, I've done that before. But I mean, this amount of work and the insurance on that when they're moving all this stuff around has to be insane. How all of that paperwork does, but I mean, so they're getting shipped over there, and then they're going first. They got to get photographed at a place. And then they got to be shipped to another place because they're putting a black frame around all of the canvases,
like a wooden frame
that's painted black. And so when you're looking, the walls are white, and my stuff is so colorful that we've talked about it. That black line is going to keep all of that color in, so it's not bleeding over onto each piece. So when you're looking at it, your mind can really focus in. And that can be kind of this surrounding fence that your mind
boundary.
This boundary thing. We did it.
It's a good idea.
We tried it with my piece last month in Seoul, Korea.
Okay.
And then you could really tell how much that kind of just enclosed that and kept it in.
That's awesome.
So it's got to go to that place next, and then it's got to be shipped back to the gallery, and then people got to be there to hang it up and figure all that out. I mean, it's way too much for one person.
And these are not small canvases.
No.
These
are 5
canvases.
feet, 6 feet. That other one's 8 feet or something like that. So I mean, yeah.
Dude, what's funny is I was just like, I don't know much about the art world. Obviously, like I'm an outsider in most ways, except for knowing you. But like, I was just on this. I was like Googling some art podcasts that kind of like just see if I could get like a little context of the world. And what's funny is I didn't listen to it, but I saw the title of one of these podcasts. It said like, Seoul's summer, and it was like how Seoul, Korea is becoming a huge art spot in the modern contemporary market. So I didn't realize, I thought that you said you were having a piece in an Asian country, but I didn't realize that you were having it in like the new happening spot.
Oh yeah,
do they have a gallery over there? Are they like a partner?
I don't know exactly what all they have. I'm sure there is a couple big galleries, or big galleries are going to be moving in there, because that is definitely probably one of the next biggest spots. But this was an art fair.
Okay.
That Maddox got invited to be in for the first time. So now they included me with maybe 10 other artists or something like that.
Okay.
So I had a piece, and they have 10 other artists, and then this big booth, and then I don't know, maybe 50 galleries in this big warehouse, all set up their things. You pay to get in, you walk around, you see it, and then you have your representatives standing there to talk to you. If this piece sold, you can get on our list, you can learn about the galleries. And it's for luxury, prestigious galleries who have skin in the game. You're not getting in there when you have a, you know what I mean?
Art project.
Yeah. So,
like
so they were very excited to be included for the first time. And
awesome.
It was very nice of them to include me, which I got a call 3 months ago, when I'm throwing shit at the wall, I'm stressed out, I'm not going to get the show done, this and that. And they call me and they're like, hey, we got good news and bad news. I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, good news, we got accepted to this art fair in Korea. I was like, oh, cool. Like, what's that to me? Yeah. I'm sitting there sweating,
I got to get going.
I've been up for 2.5 days. And they're like, I guess that's the good news. Bad news is, we want to take this one piece that we saw you painting on for the show. We want to put it there, so you're going to have to make another piece.
Yeah.
So there was all kinds of things throughout the year, things that happened like that, kept, going. So, I mean, that could be technically be like, okay, I did 30 works this year.
Yeah.
And there might even be a couple of other instances like that throughout the year.
Well,
But,
Art Basel was one, so there's 31.
Yeah, I mean, all of that stuff. So, but yeah, I was super excited to be included there. My piece sold the first day.
Oh, sick.
So that was super cool.
I'm kind of imagining, like when we lived in Miami, I went to Art Basel one year. There was a big warehouse in Miami, and it was kind of divided up like that, where it was like temporary walls were set up, where like each wall, or it was like a different artist was in. I'm kind of imagining, and it felt like an art fair, which was like, it's not like a 4-H center art fair. This is like a world gallery, renowned artist.
The biggest
fair.
Yeah, I mean, you want at these art fairs, I mean, people from like Seoul or like Basel, like the biggest people in the art game will go there and see everything. So everything is
what's happening.
Everything is top notch. Maddox brought in last year at Art Basel. I had 2 pieces there, and they brought in this carpet. You can do anything you want in your own zoned off area.
Okay.
They brought in carpet. They brought in these nice chairs and sofas and everything. People could, they have clients or whatever, they want to sit down and talk, make it comfortable for them. Their booth. Walking around was probably I was blown away with it. I was like, oh.
And you weren't with them yet? Or you were?
Last Art Basel's, I had the 2 pieces, but I hadn't signed the contract.
You weren't in yet.
I hadn't signed the contract for the 3 shows.
Yeah, okay.
So the first show, here's London, and then right now we're looking at next October to be Los Angeles in their new gallery, and then Switzerland would be their that. Things could obviously change. Everything's up in the air as time will go on, but yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back in time just a little bit, and then we'll come back to this. So, for people who don't know you, well, give me like a quick background of your history and when you started really doing art. I know you've always been, but you played sports growing up, but you've always been into art. You were always good at art class. You did the yearbook cover, like just random shit.
Stuff.
Yeah, but then, so did you always paint, or when did that start? And then when did it when did you really commit? Like when did it become a thing where like, it's okay, I'm just gonna do art now. Like this is what.
Yeah. So
there's a lot there, but just give us a quick background on how you got.
Yeah, I think growing up, I drew a lot. My dad's mom would send in the mail, like, I remember like these animal books on one page, like a cow, you draw it on the other side, you compare it. And I literally remember specifically like drawing that and literally looking at the paper and being blown away, like, oh my God, I did that. It looks exactly like that, There's these little things like that. So, I was drawing as a kid. I remember going outside specifically and sitting up against the house and just drawing and stuff like that. And then, I did get into sports probably, 3rd grade. And then it was like, that's all you do outside of school.
Yeah.
On the weekend, you get together, you play basketball with your buddies.
Right.
That's all, I'm doing. And then, there's little things like 8th grade year, my art got picked, to be on the cover. And it's like, oh, cool. And then, you go back to like, you got to go to your next class, whatever. You don't think about nothing.
Anything.
And then high school, I took couple art classes. That was fun.
Your teacher saw some potential in you, I feel like.
Yeah. And I remember having a conversation with her, like, what can you do with this? And then all I can remember her saying is like, well, you could teach or this or that. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
And
to her credit, she probably thought that's literally what everybody does around here. It's like you either get involved with like an institution, like a school or something, or like you work at like a nonprofit small gallery in Evansville. Like, there's like, I don't really know.
Only a couple options.
There's really not, much.
So did that, and then went to Indiana State for a year, fucked off.
Majored in nothing.
Partying, then Ball State. And then I think when I was there at Ball State that first week, I was getting in business classes. And then I had one art class, and then I sat down with the lady, and then we just kind of like, she just blew my mind, like all these possibilities. She's throwing this at me. You could do this, this, and this. And I was like, oh, this sounds like something I'd like to explore. And then
without telling your parents.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, yes, like, yeah, we're going to change this up, or I'm not doing this business shit no more. It's not for me.
Right.
So then.
But you didn't pursue painting in college.
No. So.
You pursued graphic art.
Yeah. Because that was really the only thing my parents were like, hey, we'll pay that, or else it's like, we're not going to waste our money. Which, I mean, looking back, it's like, I understand. I mean,
right, yeah.
What are you going to paint? You're going to make money. What are you talking about? Why don't you just go home and paint? I don't need to waste $80,000. You know, I get it.
Yes.
And I hadn't really been painting. So it's like, you know, so graphic design, got into there. And then with that, I had to take all of the other classes, woodworking, sculpture, a couple painting classes, drawing, you know, all of that. So, and then, so that was literally, I was then learning like skills and just all of that. And I remember then I had my first summer school thing to get like caught up.
Yes.
I had to get caught up. And then
I remember that.
That's when we got the apartment.
Yeah, you lived at the apartment for a year.
And I lived
summer by myself.
And it was like 8 to noon classes, noon to noon 30 was lunch. And then like
from there on.
From there till like 5 was the second half of the day. And these were long ass days. I mean, you're working, drawing the whole time. And then I have homework every night, couple hours. Mm-hmm. So then that is when I really like to say that I started like turning professional in my mind, like Stephen Pressfield might talk about.
Right.
And learning like, this is my day-to-day creating and stuff. That's when I learned that. And I always kind of had a good work ethic from sports growing up.
Yes.
And then now I just transition that all into this new thing that I'm doing.
Right.
You know, some people like that.
Sense.
They just need a thing to do. They need something that they can put their energy and time into.
Yep.
And when people search, some don't find it. And then I was like, oh, I can see this. And then got that. And then, you know, studied a lot about different artists, stuff like that. And then after school, we moved to Miami. Mm-hmm. And then I had the graphic design job. And then I was like, oh, I want to kind of be maybe like a street artist and do murals. It's really cool there.
Yeah.
And it was...
We were surrounded by
it. And that...
Linwood.
Yeah. And that really inspired me.
Yes.
And that's when I think my mind was like, okay, maybe I want to be like a painter and do my own thing. Because I was following these guys like Matt Steves, Greg, Mike in college. And I was like, they just found their own aesthetic.
Steves, yeah.
You know, they found their own aesthetic and then they just do it every day.
Yeah.
You know, and they built that for years. I mean, those guys are in their 40s now. They've been doing this for 20, 30, I don't know, you know.
Yes.
So
but even then, dude, that was only 5 years ago or 6 years ago that we were in Miami. Mm-hmm. But still, even at that point, the idea of like doing it actually professionally at a level like that, it seemed so far away still. It was like, these guys are doing it and I want to do it, but it's like we would go to Art Basel and like you met Tristan Eaton. No,
oh yeah,
is that his name?
Yeah.
But like even then it was like, man, but he's got murals here. He's got like, look at these giant canvases. Like this guy's, I mean, man, how we, you know, he's like you said in his 40s. You're just in your 20s. It's like, man, it still seems so far away, even though that's where the direction was starting to head. It was like, I'm headed much more towards like a painting thing than like a graphic.
Right.
You were making graphics for musicians and for the record label and stuff all the time, branding and whatnot. But it was like you were starting to see like a path of like, oh, I think I'm more interested in.
Yeah. So, but what was cool is I was using my graphic style and knowledge, and that's how the art started coming out. And if you look at my canvases now, it has a graphical element to it because that's how it was trained.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Which is funny because then it like influenced your graphic work to where you would not have perfect lines. Remember that? Like in your graphics, all of a sudden, like for your album covers and stuff, it's like you would hand draw them, put them into your software, and then color them and fuck with it. But like, it's funny how one, like that, your graphic work influenced your real paintings, and then your paintings in turn, all of a sudden your graphics are not perfect. They're very hand drawn, very like artistic. It's crazy how that balance or that played off each other.
Yeah, I was like in college, hand drawing all of my stuff. No one else was doing that in class, and I was, and then I guess that could maybe come from my childhood of like I always liked to hand draw stuff, So then I was adding that element into my graphic design, and then putting it into the computer, and then coloring it up and stuff. And then it's just, you think about it, I've been working on my aesthetic for years now.
Yes.
Not really even knowing it.
Right.
And then trying to figure my own, look out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then so I did that for a year in Miami. On the side, maybe had a couple murals, and
then you had some cool little things in Miami.
A couple
like
little
you did
things.
like a rap on that freeway or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
we did
around
that.
A pole and like
there was a handful of projects
yeah.
that I was starting to get outside of work. A handful.
Yes.
And then
it doesn't sound very eventful to say that you painted a mural, a mailbox, but it's like, but you got to remember at the time this was huge. Like we were getting pictures taken with it.
Dude,
like,
that was big.
It's on the strip of Wynwood. You know, all these artists are walking around and
in Art Basel right there. Like that was the time. Outside I had. It was like this mail thing or something. You put your mail in, and they had this contest where they picked 10 people. It's funny to think about. That was just a couple of years ago, and then like now last year I had 2 pieces inside with a very well established gallery. These canvases sold, like
really
there to there.
I know,
but just to end the background real quick. So Miami for 1 year, and then we moved to LA, and then that's when I was like, hey, like I'm ready to kind of do my own thing.
Yes.
And then I started painting shoes, just getting whatever work I could that I could put my own art onto.
Yes.
Anything. Album covers. I mean, literally.
Those bags.
Those Adidas bags.
Yes. The fuck are those? Fanny packs.
Yeah.
I did a
Chloe
few of those. We still have it.
Yeah.
Actually, it's hanging over there.
Keep it.
Yeah, I'm going to.
So
she freaking wore it one time and rubbed a little bit of the paint off.
I think I remember that.
But yeah, at that time you were painting. You were also involved in a very young but like hot, like happening group of like electronic musicians, like Louis the Child, Whethan, like just that group of people, and not only like collaborating on artworks, but like they would buy your stuff. You remember that?
Yeah,
like,
Danny and them have a few paintings over there. They still live at that house.
Oh, okay. In the hills.
Up
in there.
Yeah, because I actually
watched a Super Bowl there.
We did. Yeah, that was a fun time. But I just did a cover for Weedy that we haven't put out yet.
Yes.
So we were
that's awesome.
Talking, and they're like, "Yeah, we still live here," and I was like, "Oh shit, that's cool."
That is cool.
But so then we moved to LA, and then I kind of got involved in that a little bit. And then did that for a year. Then you guys moved, and then me and Jordan lived together. And then that's really when I kind of had my own first studio space in the living room. He stayed in the room, coded, and then that was kind of like my first studio space. So that's when I really started like buying actual canvases and being like, okay, I want to make canvases now. What am I going to be painting? What's my subject matter? All of that stuff. So that's really when I kind of
that kicked in,
dove into that, and we lived there for 1 year. And then I just needed something different. I was like, I had done a bunch of murals actually in LA and other places.
Some big fucking murals too.
Yeah.
I'll put some photos in this.
Yeah.
Behind like so you could slide and see some of the bigger shit that you did.
And then I could just tell like I wanted to move away from a little bit of the street stuff, and then I wanted to go more towards the gallery world. So, that's kind of when I was making that transition. I did it for a year. I sold stuff. It was a good year. And then I was just like, this is going to take a lot of time for me to like develop this stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to be here in LA anymore. So I moved back here. Literally 2 months later, COVID hit, everything got shut down.
Yeah.
And then I was really forced to be in my own studio here.
Yeah.
with just a bunch of canvases and just say, hey, okay, this is what I wanted. Now it's time to really see if I can do this. And I just started making canvases. And then shortly after that, I had a show here in Evansville, and then the New York Gallery, Guy Hepner saw that, partnered with them, did an online show, sold it out. And then, Maddox saw that online. They reached out, and then
just slowly been
1 year later here now, within 4 weeks, I'll be over there doing now my first solo international show. So it's all happened so fast. And I was like, when I left LA, I was like, dude, it's going to take like 10 years to really like get anywhere and stuff like that. And, I just think now, like, I saw this, Elon talking about, he's like, if you just literally outwork everyone, like you can get done in 6 months what someone will get done in a year. And like, I wake up in the morning, I think it was a journal that you got me a long time ago. And it's like, I write my hours down. Like, if drinking this water, like I know that I'm going to drink 1 gallon a day. Like, but if I'm not seeing those numbers, it's kind of like I'm just going through this cycle of life that's, you're not really measuring it, and it's like, well, I might have got this today or whatever. And you go to bed, you wake up that if I'm seeing that I'm actually painting 13 hours a day, I know that I'm out painting people by 4 or 5 hours, right? 7 days a week, no time off this year for this show, so that's what that mindset I've tried to live by for a couple of years now. And then, I'm 30 now with the big show. I think that's great for me right now, what I can do with, the opportunities I've been given. Every artist has their own ups and downs and paths. Some do it big when they're 22,
Right.
Everyone
some don't hit it till they're 60 or they're dead. Some
never make it. Some never make it. But I think that might in the background section a little bit.
And so that kind of takes me a little bit to this. You mentioned it a little bit, but like there was that period of time, especially in LA, where you operated like not entirely as a street artist, but your style was street art, but you would paint on, like we said, shoes, handbags. You just made a bunch of shit at that time, like really a ton of different shit. And that was under the name Drew Visuals. But then I feel like there was, I guess it was after we had left and you were out there with Jordan in that period where you said you really started buying canvases and stuff. But was there something that happened that like a person, like a conversation or maybe like a specific artist that you looked up to? Was there like something that happened during that period that you can remember that really like pivoted you towards like, I'm gonna stop pursuing the street art so much, the being outside, the murals, like it's a lot of work. I'm going to stop doing all of that, and I'm going to rebrand myself as a fine artist. It's like, was there like an event or like something that happened that like really you're like, I'm going to do this, like they did? Or was there something that happened that made you switch at age 27 or something, like you were headed towards being a muralist and doing all these other products. Now you're saying, no, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to pursue being in a studio. Was there something that happened? Do you remember?
First, the name change from Drew Visuals. That's something I made up in college, literally because we had to have a website before we graduated in one of our classes. You just had to, right? And I was trying like Andrew Cooper art, just the basics. I don't know. I didn't give a shit then, And then I was going by Drew, so it was like Drew art, Drew visual. Like it just worked. And then
it was like a cool street art name.
It was a cool thing for a minute. And then so I rode that out for a couple of years on, branding. And I've always looked at like branding and marketing really strongly from my background of branding logos. We had to learn all of that, like how to build a company from a creative aspect in graphic design school. Like the logo, I mean, you have a font. How does that font read to the people, right? It has its own language and meaning when you look at it. What color is it? What color is the background? I mean, every tiny detail.
And Drew Visuals, a lot of the stuff you did back then was related to branding in some way. Like even the stuff that I don't know, I feel like even all of your collaborations, they were with brands,
They were. It was cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of just brand and stuff going on.
Yeah, and I remember I had the Nipsey Hussle court.
Yeah.
And
Puma.
And I was like, okay, things are kind of like starting to happen and turn. And I felt like it was like, I wanted to be more mature about who I was. I wanted it to be me. True Visuals is kind of like this side thing I made up.
Like a kid almost, or
younger thing. I wanted to be more mature. It's me, Cooper. That's my last name. You know, that's what I'm going as, like Picasso or Dali or something. Sure. I wanted to be simple. I wanted to be me. And, you know, before people start to come in and know me and stuff, I need to kind of retrack and rebrand myself to be this newer thing. Like, you know, this is me now. And so with the name, I wanted to simplify and be me. And then it was kind of like, I was starting to see in my head, like, you know, it's a lot of work to go do a mural by yourself. I didn't have, you know what I mean? Yeah. No assistance. I didn't have money for assistance. I mean, you're in that hot heat for 15 hours a day,
or not a forklift, but like a scissor lift.
Yeah. You know, the property wants you out as soon as possible.
And then they're calling you a week later because somebody chipped the paint.
Right. Yeah. It's so, and I was like, I don't want to be 45 still doing this. You know, I'm on the road. I'm traveling all the time to do these.
Yeah.
You know, I was in Miami for 3.5 weeks one time doing a mural inside. It's like, it just wasn't fun anymore. I think I overworked myself in that lane for so long, and it was just like my back is literally my back is just fucked and everything. And I was like, okay, where do I want to be at when I'm 40 then, or 45? I want to be in the gallery world, doing my own canvases inside. I can get more work done inside, you know, just waking up and within 10 minutes I'm painting, you know. I don't have to get an Uber somewhere. I don't have to set up somewhere. I don't have to go talk to the manager or the owner of this building.
Or the people who always walk by.
And they're like taking pictures and talking.
Which is fine. It's beautiful.
No, that's part of it. I mean, it's for the people, but,
but
you know.
It does take you away from your work.
It does. So I think with everything, I just wanted to focus, where do I want to be at when I'm 45? I want to be a gallery artist, have shows all around the world, and just doing my own thing on canvas. No one can tell me what to do. A mural, they're going to tell you, hey, maybe we want this color, we want this. Well, you know, why don't
work our logo into it.
Work our logo into it. You know, once you send us a few ideas, we'll pick one. It's like, no, I'm not sending you multiple. You're getting this one or you're not getting anything, right? Yeah. So it was just something that I could control more as an artist. And I think it was just me stepping into this role of a mature artist for me and what I want.
And like long term, this is a better, I almost think too, like an investment of your time. It's like the canvases can be around forever, you know what I mean, like passed around and preserved. And sure, there are some murals that have stood the test of time, but they're inside old churches mostly. You know, it's like they're very special paintings. And but like, you know, the other murals, like they have their like expiration date in some ways. You know, the murals outside on the basketball courts and stuff. They're all awesome projects, but like I do feel that they cost so much money. They take so much effort. Somebody has to fucking pay for it. And most of them, or well, I shouldn't say most of them. Some of them are like community projects. So then it's like, who's going to fucking get the money?
Right.
You know, who's going to fundraise it?
And
it was so much extra.
And it was always a problem trying to get paid for those things, dude.
Yeah.
You know, because you're in this weird thing of where you're a young artist and you want your work to be seen. Right.
So you're willing to do a lot.
You're in a vulnerable situation.
Yeah.
And every time that person is going to put that young artist in that vulnerable situation, be like, look, you know, we're going to post about it. And now that I'm a little older and wise, it's like, dude, they're all getting fucked over at the end of the day, you know? And then it's just like, well, I mean, that's just kind of the nature of that beast.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
especially if you're dealing with people who don't know art, you know, like if they're a business owner with a building, they want you to paint it. Like it's like a big difference working. You're now working in the gallery space. You're working with world-class, you know, art dealers. It's people who know art. They know how to take care of artists. They know how to communicate it. They know how to get clients. They take care of the transactions. You know, it's like, I just feel like that's so much more sustainable over the long haul, other than this like other way where you're having to pursue the money and like, you're making $500 on a $3,000 canvas or on a like mural, you know, because it's like, well, we had to buy shit tons more paint, you know, because this happened, or that was but I'm sure that some people pursue that career and fucking could not imagine being stuck inside of a room painting canvases. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
It's like they love the life on the road. They love the being outside, the being with people. Yeah. Being up on a thing, you know?
Yeah. And that's what's cool about art. I mean, you get to pick at the end of the day what kind of artist you want to be.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, like I'm telling my story, everyone grows up. If you're in New York City, you grow up downtown. It's like, well, you might be a big graffiti artist because that's what you were around and stuff.
Yes,
you know,
true.
Your environment, and that molded you. And then now you're traveling the world doing graffiti everywhere, getting paid to do it. You know, those guys make big giant walls and big money too. And then I just wasn't around that or involved in that. So that's not how I see
your
my
path ended.
Yeah.
And you've really tried over the last, like, let's say 8 to 10 years, like you have, like, well, and you kind of mentioned that, but like you have weaved in and out of all these different disciplines, finding what, and you, man, remember you even did sculptures, like those big ass fucking sculpture. There weren't your handmade sculptures, but those installations at like those malls. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
It wasn't that long ago, but it's like your art has taken so many different shapes, which got you to a point where here you are now, pretty committed to one thing. You know, I know you did the battle last week, but it's like, it is crazy. Like you've weaved in and out. But I mean, I feel like true artists do that. You know what I mean? Like even a musician, it's like, well, I worked in this for a while, then I became this type of artist, ended up doing this with this band. You know, it's like, I just go where the energy flows.
Yeah, I
no
think
real clue where I'm going to end up.
I think that's what you have to do, you know. But getting back to your question or point maybe from earlier, being an independent artist is one thing. And then being with, you know, you want to say a record label or with a gallery, you know, that's a whole different thing. And, you know, I think me, just within this last year of working with them, there's so many moving parts. You know, they're, you know, marketing with money that I don't have. Yeah. We're doing new sculptures for this show.
Oh shit!
With a company, the money I don't have to put up to get all of those in the, you know what I mean? Right. They're drumming up business with clients. They're bringing their entire client list to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're, you know, emails and all of this stuff that I don't have, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you couldn't compete on that level.
That's the thing. No,
not that it's competition. I just mean like you couldn't get that exposure, those opportunities, like, I mean, all of that extra shit without their connections, their money, their experience, all of that. And it's not like, and I know that you've mentioned this before, it's like, it's not like they're expecting that they're going to get rich off this show. It's like, no, we're establishing you as a fine artist. And it's like, it's kind of what a record label, I don't know how many record labels do that now, but like in the olden days, like Bob Dylan's first album tanked, but they stuck with him. Columbia, I think it was Columbia, stuck with him. And it's like, we're gonna go back in the studio, we're gonna pay for another album, we're gonna try this again, because we believe that we can establish you as this next guy. And it's like, they're really investing in you now to establish you. Maybe they won't even make their money until 3 shows from now, or, you know, like however many shows from now, where it's, but I think that's the beauty of like their, like, so something I listened to a little bit of a podcast with John Russo. Do you know who that, like, is he still the CEO of Maddox?
Yeah.
John.
Oh yeah. I was about to say, wait, how do I know that name? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I listened to a little bit of podcast with him. And the host was saying that like Maddox in the contemporary art world is like an open and friendly gallery who is like nurturing to their younger artists, and like, but also in a world, in like the art world that can be like kind of intimidating or like hoity-toity to get into. The guy was saying, the host was saying like Maddox has kind of a reputation of being open and friendly towards new artists and towards buyers and stuff. But like what is your experience been like working for the first time with, like, I guess you worked with Guy Hepner, but I don't feel like that was as involved as this. You know,
wasn't. No.
So like with this, like is that a lot of communication back and forth with this gallery? Has it like I know you said like you've had different projects pop up, but like have you been pretty involved with like the marketing of your show and like what is it like? Like what's the dynamic? Because you're still like kind of like an independent guy working with this big gallery. Like you have your own studio here, they're over there. You have your own assistants. Like you have your own thing here. So you're doing all the communication. You're not going through a manager. Like what's that like for you now?
Yeah, so the past few months we've been working on the layout of the show. You know, how
literally the gallery?
Yeah, the gallery. So when you walk in that front door, like, you know, what's your best piece that we want right here and right here? Where's the best location to have the best piece that we believe people are going to like the most? You know, you have, you know, your G-Wagon, you put it right here in the center of the thing, right? Whatever you want to say. And then, you know, which maybe a couple of smaller ones you put downstairs, you know, in this tiny little area, there's a couch or whatever. So, but, you know, just that, you know, we're working on, you know, a poster and, you know, everything's handwritten on that. You know, everything's handwritten on the poster. Working with Thomas, we've been shooting this for 8 months, this video, you know.
Yes, Thomas Bernardin, local filmmaker. He does a really good job.
Yeah, he does.
He made The Strangers documentary thanks to Drew's recommendation on working with him. But
yeah, did he do good on that?
He did, yeah. And it's got, I mean, I don't know to date, but last time I checked, it had several hundred views, which for no promotion, just putting it out there, people like it, like they've shared it, and even we got contacted to submit it. We're not sure if we're going to still do it, but to submit it to like an independent film festival. Somebody saw it and said, we've liked it, we'd like you to enter it. So we'll see. There's a fucking fee, so it's always like, well, who's going to pay that? Anyway. Yeah. But you've been working on a film. Yeah. So you've been documenting the whole
thing, and he finished that up last week. And it was the first time like I'm on camera talking about my work and trying to explain it. And, you know, he shot with Super 8, film, 4K, like all of these other things. Yeah. It's like a film. And we sent that over and they absolutely love it.
That's great.
Multiple people reached out like, oh, so-and-so was showing me the video. It's so cool. And it's like, who, like Maddox is big. It's like, who are you? What do you do at the guy? Like, I don't even know, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So they were just reaching out because they were excited.
Social media.
Yeah. So that, you know, we're working on that. You know, we've been working on sculptures. So we're going to have, I think they range, there's 5 of them, 7 to 9 feet tall, and they're going to be Cooper cactuses. So,
oh, fuck.
Dude, they can have these big spikes out of them.
Beautiful.
And they'll have, you know, the kind of the arms, and then the pots, they're going to be pots directly off of the canvases.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So on the way over here, I actually got an email about getting the Pantone exact colors.
Okay.
So when I go home today, I'll send that. But then, so those are kind of like in production now.
That's awesome.
And then we're just going to kind of see how those go with the show. You know,
we'll put for sale.
Yeah, they'll be for sale. And then we'll kind of just see if people like them, if people take them to them, this and that, you know, and then if so, then hey, maybe we can do more. And then, you know, maybe we've already talked about doing a tiny little 8-inch sculpture or something like that of a Cooper cactus, you know, get the box with all the right branding and stuff.
That's badass.
So they were like, you know, maybe at Christmas we could have that kind of ready to go for the brand new year or something, you know. And so, you know, already trying to think ahead in multiple things, you know, that Christmas, you know, Art Basel in December, you know, so
that's coming up.
Yesterday, that was the piece I started working on.
So you're involved, like you're very involved in what your show's going to look like, the experience.
When I was there last year, Jay, we had the little dinner and stuff, and he's like,
is Jay another owner?
Jay's, I believe he is the owner.
Okay.
Yeah, and started it. And he was like, we'll give you full creative control. Whatever you want to do, you do that, and whatever you want us to help with, we'll do that. And I'm very involved in OCD, and I'm very into branding and marketing, you know,
the whole experience.
You're going to be in a Cooper world. So when you walk into that gallery, first of all, you have 27 canvases by me.
Yep.
You're going to have these giant cactuses,
Mm-hmm.
right? That are all in the paintings.
Yeah.
We have this one big rug in the middle, say Cooper on it, with this design I made. The cactuses will be sitting on that.
That's awesome.
And this
It's like a $4,000 purchase.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about how much a rug costs. That's not custom.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then in the back where they usually have a DJ, we're partnering with the brand KEF, K-E-F.
Okay.
It's kind of, I looked at the page, like kind of like a luxury European speaker company.
Okay.
So they were telling me that I wanted to do a speaker wall.
Yes.
But I think with their stuff, they couldn't really figure that out. So they're like, we're going to have 2 giant speakers. And I don't really know what that means, but they're $180,000 each.
Oh my God, dude.
And I was like, I think you said that wrong. What'd you say? And they're like, no. And I was like, okay, I'm not getting close to those.
The whole time you're going to be worried about somebody. Oh, there's a drink on one.
Yeah. So
these security standing around them.
literally, so we'll have those speakers. And then instead of a DJ, I'm working on a playlist of songs that I listen throughout to the day.
Wow.
So now you're hearing what Cooper is also hearing. So the whole experience is going to be basically like a trip through my mind.
Wow.
And then so those speakers will be
awesome.
there. We'll have some phone hooked up. And then that company wants to partner with me after for a collaboration to put my artwork on their speakers and do
Oh
a
my
collaboration.
God.
So this will be kind of like the first getting to know each other, see how this goes. And then we could have our own Cooper hi-fi speaker,
Wow.
since I'm doing a lot of the hi-fi stereos and stuff like that. So
That's nuts.
everything in the gallery is literally my world. And they just said, here, whatever, like, we want this to be you and your thing. Like, and when you're in that experience and environment, I've been in galleries that are kind of boring,
Yeah.
kind of like
Kinda sterile.
yeah, just sterile. And like, this will be fun. You know what I mean?
It's awesome.
Top to bottom. So that was them giving me full creative control, and all of that was something that just was right up my alley. Someone else might say, I don't want to be, I just want
Right.
to paint. I don't care.
Right. I don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
Hire a marketing team or like a branding team.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you see it from top to bottom. Given your history, it's like right up your alley. It's like, no, I'm not only is it nice that I'm gonna be, it's like I have to be involved in this.
Yeah.
Like, to see this from top to bottom, like you said, walking in that space. I can picture it, dude. Just like I'm sure if it hasn't hit you yet that you've finished up this show, when you step foot in there,
Yeah.
you're probably gonna think like, holy fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, I don't think it actually has. I don't think it'll hit me till I'm on that plane going over, because I'm still in the studio. I'm not out.
You're in your elements.
I'm not away from. I live in my studio upstairs. I have a loft, so I'm just mentally always in that area of my mind. So I
Right.
think once I get on the plane and get over, and we talked about it yesterday, I'll be there for 10 days, and then I'm not painting. They don't want me to paint. We're just, we have a dinner, we have the thing, we have a couple, just a couple small things, and like, just relax for a minute, So I was like, that sounds nice.
Beautiful, dude.
That
A
sounds
European
nice.
vacation.
Yeah.
That's not. Well, you have some like interviews or stuff like that, maybe.
So I'm getting in
thinking.
Sunday night, late Monday, nothing Tuesday. Tabitha will be getting in.
Sweet.
And then Wednesday night, we have a big dinner.
Okay.
40-person dinner. 2 different wine tasting companies will be there. What do they call those dinners where there's like multiple plates?
Tapas or something.
Yeah,
small plates.
They're doing that. And then,
or like multiple course meal or something.
yeah. I thought there was like a fancy name for that or something, but
Okay. I don't even know.
I don't either. But they just kind of
Wouldn't
gave
know.
me, yeah, me either. I've never been to one. So they gave me the rundown, and then after the meal, myself and then Jay
Okay.
and then Maeve, she works with them, and she kind of has her own podcast over there too.
Sweet.
And I don't know her exact role in the company, but she does a lot. So we're going to get up here and kind of do, I don't want to call it a panel, you talk,
Sure.
something like
a
that,
live podcast type.
in front of the 40 guests.
Who are these guests?
So these people are
collectors.
going to be people who want to, maybe purchase a Cooper canvas down the road
Gotcha.
or something like that, hand selected guests that they pick. So we'll be up there, and then, I'll have to talk about the work stuff. So I'm already have had 2 conversations with Maeve of like, let's, she's picking my brain, like, how did this come together? So we don't get up there and it's like, so
it's not this.
Yes.
Again.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, this is fun, but
right.
This is for those people listening.
This is specific.
We're selling Cooper.
Yes.
We're making sure everything's right, so I don't look like a bozo up there, and getting on the page. She works with other artists too, and she's like, okay, tell me, let's get on the same page. So Wednesday night, that'll be super important. That actually might be the biggest and most important thing that I do in terms
of
just the whole thing. And then Thursday's the show. 6th day, I show up, we put music on, we have a good time, we drink wine, we shake hands, we go home. Or I'd like to go out or something, but celebrate. But I mean, that's just I just show up, take photos. Like Wednesday, we're doing the talk,
right?
Meeting all these handshake people,
buzzing on Thursday, dude.
Yeah,
they're both off the wine, but off the just energy.
Yeah, so I don't have to do anything then. It's just hanging out and stuff. So Wednesday will probably be, I have to be on.
You got to be on your game.
On for that. Thursday.
Yeah. We'll sing Smell Off a Brain with you.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. You got like a nice suit picked out or something for the Thursday?
Actually, I'm going to go ahead and wear my jumpsuit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's Cooper, man.
That's the thing.
Let's be you.
That's the thing. I don't want to look like some business guy up there, and then you have photos and it's like,
which one's the artist?
Who's the artist? It's like, that's not fun. There's an element. I know Lady Gaga's really extreme.
Right.
But it's like, she
stands out.
It's fun at the end of the day. Like, I get to choose what I do. Like, I remember last year I was there and I went to a show, and then I mentioned like, oh, like, where am I gonna wear? And then John was like, well, you're the artist, you can wear anything you want, nobody cares. Like, I was like, oh, okay. I got like that. I was like, okay. I've been thinking about it all year of like, what do I wear at the, it's gonna be in all these photos, this and that. And it's like, keep it simple and be me. This is me.
Right.
I wear jumpsuits every day. If you go on my Instagram, it's in all my photos. It's a part of my branding now.
Yes.
Just do that.
It reminds me of like, when we were younger, we watched a specific video of Andy Warhol and another guy that I cannot remember, but they were being interviewed at a show, and they were just dressed totally different than everybody else, but like they did not give a fuck about. I think they were saying that they were from Mars, or like they were like just totally fucking with the guy, the interviewer. He was trying to be proper.
Yeah.
But I remember having the feeling of like, I can't believe those guys aren't taking it serious. Like they're not, like they're just being themselves. It wasn't like I was like, they should be. It was just like, I can't believe they have the balls to like be at that level and be the way that they're acting. But then as you get older and you realize like that's their thing though, dude. They're being the thing that they're known to be. Like it comes through in all their work. It's like, that's the whole package. If they were acting any other way, it wouldn't be authentic. You know, the real authentic them is showing up in their painted on jumpsuit and probably got a little stench to it. Hopefully you wash it before then. But it's like now I realize that is the authentic, man. That's what people want to see. They don't want you cleaned up. It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
That's not what we're paying for, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I think just in the last couple of weeks, I realized that, and it's like, this is me. This is who I am. Like, so I have 3 different jumpsuits at a tailor right now. So she's like tailoring them, because when you buy them, they're kind of like baggy and a little bit like this. So she's tailoring them custom fit to like my exact thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then,
dude, these might be a thing one day, like a merch piece.
Dude, they are. Like, this is like the speakers make sense with the hi-fi thing. Like, and then I want to do it's all branding,
specifically.
Dude. Yeah.
Yes.
It's all branding and marketing. And then when you get
beautiful.
presented that, it's like, it blows you away. And it's like, yeah, dude, we've been thinking about this for months.
Right.
And this to form this thing to be as perfect as possible, right?
Yeah.
So me in my jumpsuits, I'm gonna buy a new pair of boots when I'm over there. I'm thinking about going. I have the dark brown Doc Martens, but I'm gonna get a pair of all white. I think I'm gonna go with all white, kind of like that
clean.
rock star.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and like that's me, dude. That's what I want to do. That's me.
Yes.
So so I'll buy those over there because Doc Martens, I think, originated in London.
Okay.
So when I was over there last time, like they have stores everywhere.
Okay.
And like multiple pairs that they don't sell here. They sell just the basic ones here, but it's like I'll get those over there. So Wednesday for the dinner, I have a brand new one, perfectly clean, haven't even worn it, it's getting tailored, and I'll show up in that. It'll look nice when I'm up there.
It's beautiful.
And then Thursday, I'm going to wear the one that has some kind of paint on it and it looks fun and stuff and things like that. So I'm like, that's perfect. That's what I want to do.
That's awesome, dude. So this kind of segues into something else that you said, hi-fi and music, and then now you're going to be doing the music playlist. And I think that is one thing that, like, music, it has always been part of, like, it's like a part of your work, you know, like you have the record player, which you've described, like that goes back to your childhood. Your grandparents had the
1966 Magnavox hi-fi stereo.
There you go. Like a fucking piece of furniture, dude. And like you've always painted like records in your like vinyl records, and then now speakers have been working on, but even other musical equipment, you know. And musicians have always you've consistently collaborated with musicians. It's like, I mean, is that conscious or that's just part of who you are, the music? Well, fuck, dude, I forgot you were a rapper in high school. Like,
yeah, we did.
It's been around forever.
We did have those 2 songs. I think
but it's such a big part of your...
It is.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you think about it, like I'm sitting here with a canvas right here. Like most times it's me, a canvas, 2 feet from my face. And then to my left, is my laptop, and I put my headphones in and I'm listening to something at all times, whether it's something silly, an audiobook or music. A podcast, and then most of the time it's just going to be music, because that way I can just focus in and dial in. It kind of puts me in this meditative state. So like, I mean, music, when you're painting, it's really a dance anyways. You're dancing around this canvas. You're just trying to be one with it to just make this best outcome possible of what's in your head to get on that canvas. So you're dancing around it the whole time,
God, and you're really probably at that place. At least I have a little bit of experience with this, having been on some murals with you when I was younger. There has to be a point where like you shed, your kind of ego goes away. You kind of become flow state with the work. And then I'm sure that music, whatever is playing, is giving you energy, or it's like you can really, I'm imagining that like you're kind of one with the whole moment. It's like the music is informing your emotions, your work, like you're going with your work, and it's just like this like space, this flow, this synergy that I'm sure happens at like an hour or two into your work, and you're it's just all happening together. And that has to inform you somehow into where you're, like you said, the dance, or like how that's playing out.
And it does, dude. When you're painting and they're asking me like, what music do you like, put on your playlist and stuff. And, a lot of it's like jazz, chill, just, some bass.
Work,
yeah, it just kind of puts me in that flow. And then, if I've had a coffee or something, I like that real upbeat, fast, rap, that. And when I'm taking that, I talk about this in my video with Thomas, you'll see, when I'm taking in this energy and it's coming out of my brush, right?
Yeah.
When I have that high energy, I'm painting like a lot of dots then. I'm like, I look at something like, okay, now I'm boom, boom, boom. You're going to see a faster tempo in the canvas.
Wow.
That's coming directly from the energy that I'm taking in. So if I'm just kind of like, okay, it's the end of the night, I'm just painting slowly, it's going to be just kind of some more basic colors or something like that. It's going to be a slower look, right?
Yeah.
On the canvas, so that tempo that I'm painting at directly comes from the energy that I'm taking in.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah. It really does in real time when you step back and look at it.
Yeah. And it's, like, so it's like the music affects or the music within you, like your connection to music, it affects not only your like imagery, because clearly, I mean, especially now, like you got paintings with just speakers and wires. And like, I know you did like that one, you've done like a piano in the past, but like the one over down here in the studio has got a guitar.
Right.
So not only does it affect your imagery, but like I didn't ever think about that it affects your like your flow and the tempo being on the canvas,
Yeah.
because you don't, I guess like your work too, it's got like a flow to it. Like it's got like the lines aren't perfect. Your shapes are not these symmetrical. It's very like, I feel like in the past we've said it's trippy.
Yeah.
But like that, I don't want to say trippy because people might think it's psychedelic.
Right.
And that's not what it is. It's not psychedelic image. You're not painting mushrooms and fucking third eyes and Joe Rogan. It's like, but it is it does have a motion to it,
Well, I mean, and that comes from like all of this that we're living in right now. Like nothing is just always set in time. Everything is moving at all times. You know what I mean? And so that kind of goes back to like, photography or something like that. It's like, okay, that's the thing. Like, but this is a painting, I don't want it. This isn't a photo. Right. I want it to be a painting. And then when you look at that, you can tell that it's handmade by a human. Yeah. There's paintings out there that are just like directly drawn from a photo, and you got to get up real close, and that's fine. It's just not my style and how I wanted to express my energy through that.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's funny, I'm thinking like, so like from the past, like so you just said the world's always like moving, and it is, it's alive. It's like electric, it's resonating, but we just, our natural states just assume, that's a light, that's a tree, all this. But then if you've ever been in a state like psychedelic state, or like a state where maybe you've been in the studio for fucking 10 hours and you're like so deep that you're basically in like a, your ego's gone away. It's almost like you can really feel that motion, like, especially if you're on psychedelics, like you really feel like you can at least experience this like movement. And maybe when you hit that workflow after a 10-hour day and you're in there in the music, and it's like you are like almost conscious of it, like you're almost down in that level, and then maybe when people see it, even if they don't consciously, like it maybe still subconsciously, it's like, whoa, like I can feel the energy coming off of this canvas, that tempo, that because I don't think most people are really like aware of that, like most people aren't like art people who are like, but they see something, they're like, whoa, man, look, like, whoa, like that feeling, it's like they're not conscious of like he's using this shape and the perspective is, but it's like I wonder if they can kind of feel that energy that you're tapping into deep within the work. You know what I mean?
I think it is subconscious, and I have a hard time explaining my own work, because it just comes through me.
Right.
It's
kind of like, I don't know, what is there to say?
I know. Yeah. But I think, especially where we're from, a lot of people haven't studied art,
right,
and what it means.
It's not a culture.
It's not a thing, but getting to the levels of where Maddox can put my art at, these are direct places where people have studied art. They take it in all the time. They can look at a piece and subconsciously know that artist went to a place and went and grabbed some energy and then put it there. They didn't just draw a red apple and then it's like, okay, my son could do that. They drew it in a way where you have to like kind of study it for me. Like, how the hell did he do that? You know what I mean?
It's familiar, but something is, there's something going on. Like,
so, dang, I was to say something else off that.
Energy deep within.
Oh, yeah. I think, and it's like the past couple of years, it's like, I just want to be here. I just want to be at this level. I need more money to just so I can not be as stressed all the time, so I can make the paintings better. And it's weird how things happen. Like, okay, now I got my first show and this is awesome and stuff. But I've put in the time, and I think that the time put at directly correlates with the world
Yeah.
in a way that it goes up higher.
Yeah.
And more people start to tune in when that work is at a level that you've put in so much time, and it's
kind of undeniable.
Yeah, it's like you can't fake that.
Right. Yes.
You can't fake it. I don't know about music exactly, but I'm just saying.
I would say a similar vibe.
Yeah, and it's like you hear people all the time like, oh, well, he knows so-and-so, or he just said, and it's like, no. That's the easiest, most excuse to take someone else down. It directly correlates. Maddox wouldn't be giving me their biggest slot of the year if I hadn't put the time in and they knew what they were getting, right?
Right.
This isn't some fuck off session.
You cannot fake that shit, dude. You cannot fake 27, 30, whatever, 30, 29.
Yeah.
You cannot fake the amount of work. And actually, I have a question about that, because I think like it's easy for people... maybe people, I don't know if it's easier for people who know you or don't know you. Probably for people who don't know you and look at what you're up to right now to say, actually, I don't know. I've fucking heard people who know you say it. Like, he's just so talented. Like, I just don't know how he does it. Like but I think that look, and all of that is true. Like, you are talent. Like, you have a talent, but I really don't even know what that word means anymore.
Right, that's the thing. What does that mean?
I don't even know. But it takes away, like, from what you just said. It's like it takes away from the amount of grit and just flat out hard work that you have put in and day out for years. I feel like people do that with athletes too. They easily cut them down. I heard a kid this past weekend say Eminem sucks. I'm like, how could you you just don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Okay, you can say, I don't like Eminem.
Yeah.
It's not my thing, but you can't say he sucks.
Right.
He's insane, dude.
Yeah.
His rapping is like...
Right.
But, so like, what do you think personally accounts for your work ethic and your ability to go in and like grind day in, day out, and like, and in that same world, like, what is a day in the life of an artist like you at your level? What does it look like in the reality of it? We're not talking about Instagram and the newspaper. It's like, what does your experience day in and day out? What's a day in the life like? And what accounts for that?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Relentless.
Yeah. I think, definitely growing up, a lot of that did come from sports, like I had mentioned earlier, and then now it's like, what I do is very risky. I could have this great show, and then if I stop it, the whole thing stops.
It's on you.
I want to make sure that I get to do this for the rest of my life. This is my dream. I feel like this is what I'm here to do. And I never wanted that to go away or want that to go away. And so that's why I've worked my ass off the past couple of years, and, still am on that same, even further down that rabbit hole, just because this is what I want. And I want to make sure that I get the opportunity and chance. So I think, I was listening to Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell, something like that. Yeah. Just last week. And
awesome.
He was talking about
10,000-hour book.
Yeah. He was talking about, opportunity, and then I think it was talent. And he's like, everything I've personally done in my life, I've taken literally every single opportunity, whether it was painting on a pair of Vans in LA for $250 to meet rent. And then next month I'm doing an album cover for Oliver Tree or something. Yeah. It's like those two things are very different, but I've taken every opportunity to put myself in a better position. And even nothing was happening, I was still getting the art out of me and practicing those strokes, this and all that. And I think at the end of the day, opportunity, like this one for Maddox, they could have picked anyone. Whatever those canvases are, they're going to be there. But having that opportunity outweighs talent at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I at this point, I truly believe that. Yeah. And
it is an old saying. I mean, like, it's cliche in a way, but it's true. It's like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. But it's like, how could talent have possibly got that opportunity alone? Because like, it's so much fucking physical effort, and mental strength to show up, sit down again for the 8th month in a row in the same seat, with the same fucking brush, and do the same thing.
It's, dude, I was telling Tabitha about this, like, she's been kind of doing some of her own pieces at the house too, and like she's like at noon, like I'm mentally exhausted, like I gotta lay down for a minute. I'm like, you have to train your mind to like go that deep and focus in for so long, you know, like you really do. Like, okay, 3 solid hours, and then I'm gonna walk downstairs, I'm gonna fill up my water for 5 minutes, and then I'm just like you really strain your mental, a lot. But
I know, because you would think it's just physical effort. You're just moving your arm around, like it's not that tiring, but
but
to sit,
you're sit, and you're thinking the whole time, and at every moment, like you could do something on the canvas that literally might be a breakthrough. So the more I sit there and focus in, I might get one breakthrough moment in 8 months, but that breakthrough could lead to the next big show of like, oh, I have this brilliant idea.
Yeah.
And now the next show is boom, 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 because of that one moment. So the longer and more I stay in that pocket, the more chances of success that I'm going to have to find hopefully something for the next opportunity. And when that arises, I'm going to be ready.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said something a second ago that made me think like, it's like a feedback loop. Like you said, like what accounts for the hard work, the ethic, like the drive. And it's like, well, you've dedicated so much to getting bigger opportunities, then the bigger opportunities come. And like what you said when you got here, it's like as you get older, it's all about just responsibility. So now it's like, dude, this big show, all this money, all of this shit, it's on you. So then there's this pressure, but then like the pressure, so then you worked your ass off to get this. Now you have the pressure, but the pressure motivates you to rise to the occasion, to do all of the work. Then you go above and beyond. So now they're expecting, like, they're like, oh, he does a bunch of extra shit. Well, we'll just ask him to do this, and that.
Yeah.
Then you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then, but it's like a feedback loop of like, I want more, you get more. Then it's like, God damn it, I got to do a bunch of more work. And but it's like but it motivates you to just keep getting bigger and better and better. It's like, it's like, so the work creates more work, which creates more motivation. Then you see more opportunity, and then you get a break. It's like this constant.
Yeah. And that's the game. I mean, you don't play it, you're not going to be involved.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I remember hearing I forget what this guy was involved in, but it was an old guy on YouTube like a long time ago. It was motivational bullshit. But he said like, people ask me, how do they find their passion? And he's like, well, you can't find your passion without doing something. So he's like, in my case, he's been doing whatever he's been doing for like 50 years. He's like, the way I find passion is by doing more of what I do. So it's like, I'm passionate about music. Then keep going, like just keep getting more involved, because then you get deeper within it. You see all these other things, then you love that, and then you hate it, and then you go like talk, or then you go experience something else. You're like, but I like, it's way better than doing this shit. Then you go back to like, I fucking love this shit, dude. I love it. Or you learn something new, and it's like, it's this endless discovery of a thing that you love, but you don't get that without hours and in just life and like spending all your money on it, and like, and going broke, and then making something, and then it's just that constant. It's like everything with love. It's just like, you got to do it. You got to go through it to appreciate it, and like, but it's always just growing and more and more, and then it drives you to just want more. And
that's correct.
Yeah, it just never ends.
It doesn't, dude.
So, okay, we can kind of start wrapping it up here in a sec. But I do want to ask you, like, I knew you as a young kid a lot, and there wasn't a ton of, not, like we said in the beginning, like knowledge around a career in art, or like resources for somebody wanting to get involved in art. Not that there really is any easy resource or any way to help somebody get places in art or music or any, or like, just in a high level anything. But if someone came to you and said, like, I want to do what you're doing, like I want to be, I'm 20, I'm about to graduate college. I want to do what you're doing. What would you say to that person? Or what are some characteristics you would want to see in them to be like, this will help you get there?
Well, they want to be a painter like that.
Yeah, they want to be who you are right now.
Well, I would say first off, before I was doing like a show, like the Evansville show, was like I had like 2 pieces done. It's like, why can't I get a big show? Like I can do the work. It's like you have to do the work first.
Which, let's just mention, you funded your entire Evansville show, which was like probably how many?
It was like 20 something pieces.
Yeah.
But I had created those over maybe like a 2-year span. Like I did a piece set to the side.
Did some in LA.
I had a commission from this person. So it wasn't like I was ever building for the Evansville show.
Yes,
that just kind of happened. They threw the opportunity out. I already had like 17 pieces and I did, 5 or something more. I just kind of put it all together.
And how many did you sell at that?
I think like 5, to be honest.
So you sold like 25% of what you brought there.
And maybe made the money back just from all of the stuff.
Cost.
The cost. I mean, that stuff's expensive, but and right now, like, if they're younger, like try to maybe do that. You want to try to put a small show together of 10 pieces
locally,
something like that. And like, dude, I've hit up me right now with this show. Dude, I've hit up so many people in Evansville, like trying to get a banner for my show or something. I've contacted the museum, they can put their logo on it, whatever.
You mean to advertise it or
to advertise it? Yeah. And it's been through like 10 people's hands, and I called the news, whatever. We'll get back. Like literally, like absolutely nothing. No one will hit me back.
Nobody has a fucking
clue. Hasn't any idea. And then, I don't want to get too involved in that, but that conversation. But
I mean, it goes to show, like, if you're going to try to be from a small town and do it, it's hard because people don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would, first of all, just maybe do that. But I think at the end of the day, like, especially if you're young, you move to a big city, like be around it. You're going to learn so much from other big artists, being in the city, the fast pace of life.
Yeah. The chaos.
Go to, galleries. Like, you got to have skin in the game. You got to really be involved and then go throw yourself into that fire, whether it's New York or LA or Miami.
Yeah. Because you wouldn't have got those opportunities.
No,
like
if I wasn't. Exactly.
Adidas,
yeah.
All of that happened
because
in
I was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
They could have picked
someone had
else.
to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you were there. Yeah.
So, I mean, I would say go to a big city and experience that life. And it might not be for you, but go and live for a couple years.
Yeah.
And just see that. And then you can go move and have that knowledge you can take back to wherever you're going.
Yeah.
And do that.
Thing.
But
and that could be true for anybody who's doing anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think my advice would just be, start slow. Don't start trying to target a giant gallery. Do the work first. Put the time in, right? That stuff will come. You have to prove yourself. Start with super small gallery, just a handful of pieces, and then learn to make those works,
coherent.
Yeah, all of that. So, just start small, move to a big city, and just continuously grind every day and take every opportunity, no matter if it's not paid. You got to put some money up. The circle will come back and reward you for that.
You put up, I remember because I was there in Miami, we painted a CrossFit gym and then I had a performance inside of it while people were doing CrossFit. It was one of the more interesting shows.
It was wild.
But you put up all of the money for the paint to do the painting on this building. And most of the work that you painted was for the company or for the CrossFit gym. It was like, it was your style, but it was like, dumbbells and like a trophy and like all this random shit.
Yeah.
And it might have seemed at the time like, what the fuck is he doing? He's paying to paint somebody else's shit on their building. That led you then to, he said, well, you can paint the back wall, whatever you want. Boom. you get to do your art, still had to pay for it. But it's like each one was a stepping stone till eventually you're painting a big ass like parking garage and they're paying for it.
And it's exactly what I want to paint.
It's exactly what, and it's massive and it's in Los Angeles. You know, it's like each one might seem, so as a younger person, you might think, well, this opportunity sucks. I have to pay and I have to do all this work. And it's like, but you're playing the long game here. You're not going to get rich off your first mural.
No.
You're going to get broke, probably. And morally, you're going to feel beat.
But those were important for me to take a photo of that finished piece, put it online. One, you got to show people you can do it.
Yeah.
You got to put it out there. Someone will see that and be like, ooh, I like that. Hey, I got this. Maybe, hey, look, to be honest, I only got $500, and you're like, shit, I spent $500 on my own money last time. Hey, no, that's fine. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Play the game, you know?
Yep.
And
each one's a progression.
Each one, maybe the next one's 1,000. You're like, whoa, okay. Yeah. And then, you know, so yeah, I mean, for me, it was important to put that online and show that I could get it done, right?
Yes.
Doing this with Maddox will prove that I can now do a gigantic show like this and put all the work to there and sell it out in one night. And I'll have those photos, boom, to take with me for the rest of my life. And all of the bigger galleries or whatever can see like, oh, okay, we can count on this guy to make artwork and fill it. We can count on him to be a high professional. Right.
It isn't just his words. It's literally like, you don't have to speak. It's just go look at the photos.
Yeah.
It's a world of Cooper in a major gallery in Linden, and he lives in Indiana. You know, it's like you just said, the work speaks for itself at that point. So do it to prove that you can do it.
Exactly. Yeah. And
people will take you more.
And that's the thing I've learned, like, do it for yourself. Do it because you want to do it. Do it because you have a dream and a goal to be somewhere. Don't get caught up in the day to the day, a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there.
Trends.
Yeah, whatever, of getting yourself down like, oh, I don't want to paint on that building. It's not on the main street of this road or something. Like, do it for you because you need to do that and prove to yourself. And it will, all of that will add up. Everything I've done has added up for me to be in this position right now. If I wouldn't have taken all those opportunities, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Right. Because my level of artistry wouldn't be as good. Right. Because I wasn't practicing it every single day because I was at home throwing a pity party because I didn't get the best wall or something. So I'm not going to do it.
And look, dude, it's taken longer. It's taken a bunch of shit that you've had to go through, but now you get to be yourself at this show. Like, you get to wear a jumpsuit to a nice 40-person dinner. You know, it's like, and you're the guy that everybody's there for, dressed in a fucking jumpsuit, you know, like, because you did it your way. Now, if you would have signed early on with some bullshit deal and like somebody made you in, like, for example, last night we were talking about what to name our new chickens we just got, and Chloe said, "Oh, somebody said we should name them like the like president wives from the history or something. You know, it's just like funny. How do you name them?" And somebody else said the Spice Girls, and Chloe's like, I was like, I don't even know what their names are. And she looks them up, and one's like Hot Spice, and one's like Sexy Spice. I don't even know their fucking names. And I'm like, can you imagine being in that band, that girl band, going to the record label, and they go, hey, so you're going to be Hot Spice. Oh, yeah. And you're going to be Nice Spice. And it's like, what kind of crap? And then here we are 25 years later, and you're like on stage like, hey, I'm Hot Spice. Like, what kind of, and that no offense to them.
That was your life.
Yeah, but it's like a manufactured, like, that could be anybody who takes that route. Maybe they wanted that. I don't fucking know. But that is not for me. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're going to dress you in these clothes. You got to do this. You got to be this person, you know. No offense to the Spice Girls. I think they had a couple of hits. But
yeah. I think that's, you know, some of that is, if you don't have the ideas, if you don't have the artistry at that level to know who you are, know what you want, you might, you know, have a great voice and you're like, I don't care as much. Some people don't care as much. Yeah. And it's just like, I just want to be famous or something. I just want to be in a lot of photos online so I can have a lot of attention or something. I don't really care about the art and the career as much. I just want to be in the magazines. Yeah. So everyone's different. And, but for me, I could never be an artist like that. I have to have everything the way I want it,
Dude, you're way too stubborn. Like as a person, like to to be told what to do. That's who you are growing up and like all of that.
Yeah.
But then it like when you back that stubborn up with like effort, it's not like you're like, I'm not like, I won't do it like that. And then you don't do anything. It's like, I won't do it like that because I'm going to do it like this. And then you do it another way. And it's like, okay, that's a lot better than.
Because, for the painting, I have the idea in my head and I know how I need to place it on the canvas. Like, you can't tell me that I need to place it like this because it's not going to go through that route of my hand and that energy and be natural again. Like, you're interfering with me and my process, So, there's all different types of artists, but, hey, teach his own.
Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah.
Song that you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we'll wrap it up here in just a sec. But I do want to ask you this because you mentioned it and I do have the question written down and I wasn't going to go there because we were going to move on. But I do really want to know just like a snippet, 1-2 sentences. You just said that you've been reaching out locally here in Evansville to try to get some support or some press on this, and no one has really taken it serious. If the people of Evansville want to keep artists like you, which I know that there are some initiatives to like keep art. There's that big mural who I don't even really know who painted it, but I think it was somebody from out of town.
It was the only mural we have in downtown was a situation where they put out, hey, we want to have a local Indiana artist. So what happened was they brought in a company from Kentucky and paid them money to do a mural downtown that says Evansville or some bullshit like that.
Large scale
so first of all, it was a company. They weren't supporting a local artist and put that money in their pocket.
Yeah.
And the people were from Kentucky. So that's just a little bit about Evansville.
Yeah. And it's like, what's funny is like, okay, there probably are a bunch of people who applied for that who don't have the capacity to complete a project like that.
Right.
But like you literally do. Like
I have
do is go to your Instagram page.
Or I have 5 of those in LA.
Yes.
The one that was even bigger than that. And I wasn't even mad that I didn't get the project. I was like, put that like I know how much just even a little bit of money can help a young artist. I was in that situation.
Yeah.
Put that money in a young artist's hands who's serious.
Right.
They're going to
pick 3 to share this giant mural if it's too much for one young guy,
yes. Split it up, make it work for that.
Yeah. Even if it doesn't have a fucking airplane on it that's from Evansville, or if it's content not from Evansville, it's like at least it's in Evansville by Evansville,
Right. Yeah.
Now it's not that. It's some other company. Anyway, okay. So, but what do you think Evansville, a small city like Evansville, would have to do to keep you here? Like, what would it have to offer to keep you from leaving and going to another bigger metropolitan area or like a bigger, because that seems like that's probably going to happen.
I mean,
who knows?
You're going to have a space that's bigger than ArtsWin to where you're showing 20
it's
canvases.
A small gallery.
Yeah, and I liked
really
it.
The only small gallery.
Yeah, ArtsWin's great, but you're going to have a space where people can show my work at 5 to 6 feet high, a big white space, something like that. And you're going to really have to update and come into this new contemporary art scene. The museum there, you go to it and it's pieces from 100 years ago and stuff. And like, that's cool, but it's not what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Right. And, your content, right? You're going to have some type of content, like, like maybe
art magazine or something.
Yeah. Something, or, what I thought would be a cool idea is like get a wall downtown somewhere and pick 4 artists a year, so their artwork stays up for 3 or 4 months, right? And then they get to provide paint, and they get to paint the wall, right? And then do a video on them, photo, put it out in the Evansville magazine, stuff like that, and give a little person a shine. Maybe give them $500,000, right? not
500 to 1,000.
Yeah.
Not 500,000.
No. Yeah. And, have something like that where there's a grant through the city that's coming in to give a little piece of shine. If you want to do an art now or get your stuff seen around here, it's like, how do you do that?
You literally have to go to like a First Friday or like a small little festival. That's not an art festival. It's just like a maker's market.
And then you're selling like a canvas that's like 10 inches by 10 inches. Like,
right. For $30.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and if it is more than $30, you're not going to sell it.
Yeah,
that's most likely.
That's the thing. So, I mean, I think, getting some wall with a grant and showcasing 4 artists, it's not that much money coming out from the city.
Right.
They get that, I think that would be a really cool opportunity.
That is cool. And run a little article, like you said, take some photos, put it on some social medias.
Exactly.
Give them a little platform.
Yeah.
Shout out their Instagram.
And what I wanted to do was do the poster for the London show. I wanted to put it somewhere downtown where people could see, right? I've called the museum. I've talked to multiple people like, hey, I got this poster. It says Maddox Gallery, Cooper, all the dates. And I was like, I want to advertise a big poster around here where people can see it, not just so I can throw it in someone's face like, hey, I got a show in London. No. I want to inspire the kids around here. Like I was inspired by Nipsey Hussle telling me like, dude, you can do anything you want. I want to give that moment of inspiration to them. Be like, whoa, who's that? Okay, he has a show in London. Okay, let me check it out.
And like he did all the work here?
Yeah, maybe like that could unlock some doors in your brain to be like, I could move here or I could do this. Anything's possible, and all I need is $250. And the museum's like, we don't have the budget. We think it was kind of like a wordy thing that I got back from them of like, we don't think that's the best use of our resources and blah, blah, blah.
But how could that not be? Like
the content, let alone of them posting that on their page
artists.
And so supporting that, like supporting me, tagging me, Maddox, them is probably the best art news story of maybe the year.
Yes. I don't know how it isn't. Like, there's no one that I'm aware of locally who's doing anything at this scale, but yet like nobody, I don't think it's that they don't care. I don't think that they recognize
or
what
really
the
understand
fuck is going on. Yeah. Or that like the significance of not only what you're doing, but what you've done, not to just boast on you, but it's like, who else is living here, working here, who's got the credits that you have, that isn't like how is that not being nurtured? Like, because if it's not nurtured, it's gonna leave, like the same with music. I know like there's somewhat of a music scene unfolding, but like it's hard as fuck for a new band to get a gig locally, unless you put it on yourself, which is understandable. But it's like, if they don't support it, why would you stay?
Right.
Like, you have more support in Los Angeles where no one fucking knows who you personally are.
Literally.
You have way more support out there. Or like now in London. And like, you have more support in these other cities. But then like, there's just clueless as to the fact that you're here, you know?
Yeah.
But you've been here for fucking 2 years.
2 years.
And you had a show here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people who would need to know about you. But I think that there is, and I don't mean this to everybody, I do think that there is a sort of, because I've experienced this within the music, I do think that there is a bit of there is a sort of like, not jealousy, but like if you're not in this local community, like if you have ambitions outside of it, it's like a turnoff, where it's like, but the point is to dream big.
Right.
Like, why would you not want to support that?
And that's,
but I feel like I've faced that just in the music thing, where it's like, I don't know, just like, I don't feel like I click with certain people because they're like, well, you're trying to do like, like the business side, like, we're just like an independent thing. Like, we don't like the business, or like, I want to say there's like some animosity towards high ambitions,
For sure. I mean, you got to be careful who you share good news with, right? Who's the guy who said that? I forget.
Jordan Peterson.
Yeah. But so, and I do think, I've dealt with that too, of just like, like support other people.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we have this downtown community who's doing this. Oh, Larry over here wants to go to China and have this big art. Like, go do that, Larry. Good. I hope it does well. Is this the end of it?
Dude, it wasn't supposed to be, but this was in from the last episode, so sorry about that.
It's still recording though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's all good.
This means we're like an hour and 40 minutes, I think, into a podcast, actually.
Okay.
So that's pretty,
lengthy.
That's pretty extensive. Okay. We'll wrap this up, but I have one segment that I want to do with you before we leave.
Okay.
We'll kind of let the music play for a second. I might edit kind of ahead here. Do you have to piss?
I'm okay right now. I'll go.
We'll just push through this like 5 minutes of whatever.
So how did the name of the podcast come about?
So the in the bio of my Instagram for Wally Opus, for the longest time, I've had mining for gold in the foothills of southern Indiana. Like that my company's, my Wally Opus mission is like mining, trying to find or discover or help unlock like what I think is like gold, like good music in southern Indiana. I felt that has been my mission, meeting younger artists or newer artists and helping them uncover what is their best thing. So mining for gold in the foothills of Indiana has been my thing. So then I was thinking of a name for the podcast. I threw about all this other shit, and I was gonna make it just about songwriting and music. And I'm like, but I have a lot of friends that don't work in that who I would like to have, like you, on the podcast. We're not gonna sit here and talk about songwriting for 2 hours, but but then I thought, well, what are we going to be doing? Like, we're going to be digging for the truth and like the gold, like the dialogue, the dialectic gold. So I thought mining in the foothills, because I'm only going to interview people from the Midwest, the foothills of southern Indiana. I want to get down into Nashville, like kind of this belt, the Bible Belt, kind of the Midwest of America. I want to do a podcast just focused on people there. So then mining in the foothills, and we're on the search for dialectic gold with doers from around the Midwest. So actually, I really don't think it's that strong of a name. I just thought it was like, it's kind of different, and nobody else had it. So
that's a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to stand out. So.
Yeah. I searched so many fucking names on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
Yeah.
And a lot of the names that I searched for were already taken.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have anything. And I was like, I don't really want to call it the Wally Opus Podcast. Because I don't know, I just don't want that to be the thing.
Yeah, no.
Like, I don't want to separate it. I do want it to be a Wally Opus production. It's part of the Wally Opus umbrella.
Yeah.
If it makes music, it can go underneath the structure of my company. So
for sure.
And if somebody else has a podcast that they want produced, hey.
Yeah.
If it's a cool idea and they need some like microphones and shit to help them get started, it can be a Wally Opus production, or something. So
yeah.
But
cool.
Yeah. Do you think it's a cool name?
Yeah, it's different.
I know. Mining in the foothills.
Yeah.
I feel like people might think it's about like coal or like digging or something.
I don't think so. I mean, unless you're working at a coal mine that no one really like talks about.
Right.
Or you know what I mean?
I know.
So.
Because it's just like with doers from around the Midwest, I was thinking, well, I want it to be like mostly people who are doing interesting shit. So like an entrepreneur or an artist like you, a fine artist, like a visual artist, or like a lot of bands and musicians. That's who I want to have on, people locally to start, get my thing, and then start branching out. And like after I get several episodes down, like this is number 5. So get several episodes in before I start kind of branching out to people I don't know.
Yeah.
And having on people, because I want to get the format down, and I have like a couple little like the intro and these questions and a segment.
Yeah.
How do you tie all that together?
Right.
I feel like that takes some experience to
learn all that.
To learn how to do all that.
Right.
And keep it interesting.
Yeah.
And to I don't know how to really build a listenership other than just have on people and hopefully they share it and hopefully people listen,
I mean, yeah, that's the tricky part of content. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I don't know how else to do it other than that, because I I wanted to make something that I could like have people on and discuss and learn and stuff and build connection. But I'm not gonna. I mean, the reason there's no video is because like it's too much work.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Like I told Chloe this when I started. I'm like, I'm gonna build something that takes about 4 hours a week. That's what this show takes. You know, it takes an hour of prep. I'm constantly thinking about what to ask, but then like it takes an hour of prep, a couple hours to record, a couple hours to upload. That's it. If I do anything extra, I'm not going to keep doing it because it's going to be too much. Right. Too much work.
So just one episode a week?
One episode a week. If I can do 50 episodes a year, you know, until it like becomes something, if it becomes something to where like I could have somebody else here helping or somebody doing the back end, then we could crank out more. But it's just too much to try to imagine doing multiple a week with video.
And it's kind of like a side project. It's not like, hey, I'm going to start doing this and I'm going to make all my money to support me from just this. You know, it's kind of
it's just a way to like have cool conversations with people I know. You know? And I want to, something that I think would be good to do as well. And I've done this in the past with 2 episodes I haven't put out yet. But like if there's a band or an artist locally who I want to work with, but like it doesn't time up well to make a project together, invite them in for a podcast, get to know them. They can see the studio. It's all free. You know, there's no money involved yet. It's just like a way to get to know each other, build a connection. And then like it happened last year, I had a band come in, but then a guy in the band is in another band. Their band came in this past summer and recorded because when he was down here, he loved the vibe. So it's like, it's kind of a way to also bring people in and meet them, show them what I can do or see the space and like, oh, this is cool.
That's a cool idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully I can like bring on I want to bring on some songwriters and stuff from country music and like other genre, like worlds that I'm getting into, but not into yet. And bring people on to interview them and get to know them. Yeah. And I want to learn, I genuinely want to learn more about a lot of stuff. So, So I do have a segment. It's called Don't Think, Just Act. So in this segment, I'm going to rifle off 10 terms, names, ideas, things. And then you tell me the first thing that comes to mind. A word, a sentence, story, whatever comes to mind. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, first thing I'm going to ask. Jeremy Henney. What comes to mind?
If being great was easy, everyone would be great.
That's great. Jeremy Henney was our high school basketball coach.
Yeah.
But you and him had an especially close relationship.
Yeah.
You were his point guard.
He really pushed me a lot.
Yeah.
He knew to push me further than some other people and stuff, and he would always.
He wasn't afraid to push you.
No, he was not. Yeah, I remember one day after a game or something. It was a hard game or something, and then the next morning practice, and he came in. He's like, "Coop, my wife was telling me last night I'm too hard on you. You think so?" I'm like, "Nope." What am I gonna say? Yeah,
you are.
No, but he always said, Coop, if being great was easy, everyone would be great. You know, you got to go up above and beyond. So I always like that quote. I think about it sometimes.
Awesome. I know he had a big influence. Those summer practices that you guys would have.
Yeah.
I went to a few, but you went to every single one.
Literally.
5 a.m. or some shit before school. Okay. Favorite musical artist today?
MGK.
Love it. Biscayne Boulevard. Empanadas. God.
Could eat one of those.
Bless America. Whew. Those were good, dude.
And they were like 50 cents or something.
Yeah, you could go get a slew of them, go down by the river and eat them. We were just in, where were we at? We were in a city recently where we ate Latin food and I got empanadas. I think it was St. Louis. We went to St. Louis for a ball game.
Okay.
But anyway, I got empanadas and I was telling the story. I'm like, when I lived in Miami, there was a Latin restaurant across the street. None of them spoke English. We didn't speak any Spanish, but we could point and communicate what we wanted and then just give them money.
Yeah.
But we would get empanadas, beef or chicken.
Yeah.
And then, we were eating. There's a new restaurant in town who has great empanadas.
Where?
It's called I think it's called Los Alfredos or something. But it's right close to here. It's on the north side.
Okay.
So we should go get some sometime.
Yeah.
But really good.
Yeah.
Like close to home.
Yeah.
In terms of how they taste authentically down in Miami. But I say we used to go get a slew of those, go sit by the river with a 40 Corona, 40 ounce Corona, and
literally
look at
dream.
Yeah, dream about the future. And sometimes you'd see jet skis and wonder, is that DJ Khaled on his jet ski? Anyway, okay. Favorite project you've worked on?
Favorite project, probably, I'd have to say Puma with Nipsey Hussle. I mean, being around him and his energy was...
Right before he passed.
Yeah, 3 months before.
Yeah.
I mean, just being around him was like, I'd heard all of his music. You've seen him around for years online and stuff. And then like him being in that present moment with me, looking at the basketball court and then look at me and then dapping me up and was like, this is dope. Like he gave me his approval.
Yeah.
And I like literally in that moment, I knew like, I can do this. Just keep going.
Amazing.
You know, so that was the biggest inspirational moment of my life. Just him looking at me and saying that. And if I can do anything for any other artist younger, that's what I can
That's what you can do.
Inspiration. The biggest thing you can do is inspire other people.
And it's true acknowledgement. It's like, I see you. I see you, man. Like, I see you. Keep going. You know, and I feel like that is a shared like brotherhood or like energy where it's like, I recognize you're doing something here. Keep going. And for people who aren't on that level, they don't see that. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean as much. If they say, oh, I love your canvas, it's like, great. But a good artist looks at it and he's like, nods his head. You're like, oh, fuck yeah, man. Okay. Next question or next term, boneheads.
Yeah. Brothers for life, you know.
Only a couple of them, man.
Yeah.
The Beatles.
The Beatles. You know, I think about my paintings, and my dad listened to the Beatles a lot growing up, and it was always just like, you hear them, and it was always just this like, come in, quick, easy, fun, and loving vibe, and like easy. And when I paint my canvases, I internally think like, I want to paint like the Beatles sounded. This just positive, loving, radiating vibe in this square piece. And if people look at my work, that's the vibe that I want to get. You know, life is hard every day. And if someone looks at that, I just want that to be this radiating positive, loving feeling that they get back, that they can take away with them. Just like a Beatles song.
Love it. Love it. Quality versus quantity. What comes to mind?
I think for me now, I like quality. That I think quality for me, it's going to go further.
So does that mean that you're finding yourself saying no more often and only yes to a few things?
Yes.
Because like you said in the beginning, you always said yes to any opportunity, but has that started to switch?
But now my opportunities are bigger and they're very quality driven. Instead of doing stuff down here where I can have 12 opportunities, but this one quality opportunity is going to outweigh all of them, and just focus on that.
Gotcha.
You know?
Good. Who's your idol?
My idol?
Who do you look up to most?
I think probably David Hockney.
Okay.
He was a painter. He's still alive, and just his style and his aesthetic.
Is it similar to yours?
A bit.
Okay.
He did wild interiors, wild outside scenes, very super colorful. Maybe paint some grass blue or something, you know? So I think if you looked at his work, you'd be like, okay, I understand, you know, I see.
Okay.
But I've got some books at him at home. I've studied his work, and, you know, when
he's just someone you really
his aesthetic. And when Maddox first reached out the first day we had a Zoom call, they're like, name 3 artists that you like, and I was like, David Hockney, and they're
Who were the other 2 on that list?
Hillary Petchus.
Okay.
And
does she do still lives too?
Yeah, I showed you her.
I think I remember that.
I showed you her work, remember? And then
is hers like people taking their bodies off? Or like
no. She does interiors, flowers, like stuff.
Do you know what I'm talking about though? That girl, it's like, oh fuck! It was in a magazine that you were in. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it was kind of like darker stuff. But it was like colorful, but like the imagery was a little bit darker. But it'd be like somebody like taking off their skin and like almost like clothes. And like setting it on. I think it was a female artist.
Yes. Polly Noor, I think.
Yes. I think that is her. Yes. Who that name is.
Yeah. She doesn't really paint though.
Okay.
She does more of like that. And then I haven't seen her work in a long time, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah, at that point in time, she had.
Who was the other artist on that 3rd list?
Andy Dixon.
Okay.
I've talked about him before. He does interiors and stuff. He uses like more of oil pastels and things like that, but they're like interiors, and I like the way he compositionally places things and stuff. The depth in his pieces are really nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. By the way, recently, where were we at? Oh, we were in Florida at my sister's house, and she has one of your pieces in her beach house.
Right.
And one of the boys I was with, I took a couple guys down there to see Full Sail. One of the guys I was with thought that the shadows on the painting were real. Like for a second, he thought that, like, you know how like your shadows are very like big part of your work, but he said that he looked at it and thought like, oh, like the shadows are real.
Yeah.
But it's a painting. But like he said, it really fucked with him for a second.
That's funny.
Yeah. He might have been under the influence of.
Okay.
But anyway. Most memorable Cooper moment. So we did favorite project, but what's your favorite, or what's the most memorable moment that comes to mind as Cooper?
I think being another great one was taking it all in was at the Do Tour when
I had a feeling that was going to come up.
When we're in the top canopy, kind of the VIP area, and then like you can go to this side, and there was I don't know.
There was a bowl.
There's a bowl, and then you look out on the other side, and it's more of like the street. I think they call it the street park or something.
Street park, yeah.
And then just like everything is my wildflowers, Cooper this, Cooper that. It's my world again.
Ryan Sheckler's down there.
Yeah, Nyjah Houston.
They're like
grinding over my artwork and stuff.
Right.
And then you guys were all there, and it was just hundreds of people all. Interacting.
Wearing your shirts too, hats with your logo or your imagery on it.
And just like taking all that in was just so memorable.
On that scale too, like that what you're talking about, that building, that kind of thing that we were on, that trust, that grandstand thing, seeing your artwork wrapped, because it wasn't just Mountain Dew artwork. It was your wildflowers in their world. But ginormous, like these giant vinyl wrap things surrounding these grandstands, and like big, like you painted those big wooden flowers and like the whole space. It was kind of like what you talked about with the gallery, the way that it's like that experience of entering into the Cooper world. You just did it in collaboration with Mountain Dew and the skate fucking facility.
And now
association.
I'm doing the same exact thing, just with a gallery. Nothing's really changed.
No, except these are all your paintings and not skaters. Trying to get to the Olympics or whatever. But. So cool. Okay, last one. Dead or alive, someone you would love to drink a beer with. Anybody?
I'm probably gonna have to say. I was going to say Basquiat, and then I was thinking, well, maybe Warhol. I think maybe Warhol, because I just think his mind was genius. He knew exactly, he was a walking art image himself with his wig and the way he looked.
The way he spoke.
The way he interacted at galleries. He always knew exactly what he was doing. And...
what are you curious about? If you were drinking a beer, what would you bring up?
I would be like, look at me, Cooper, and like, what do you think about me? And then like my whole thing, like what would be your genius master plan to like, like Art Basel a year ago, someone put a banana on a wall and duct taped it, and it sold for like $100-something thousand. It's like
what should I do? Yeah,
what crazy, insane idea could Cooper do and be like, get away with, and it would like work? He was a master puppeteer of doing all of these.
He was
things.
a master at making things go viral before going viral.
Literally,
was a thing.
Yes,
yeah.
And I would just love to sit down and talk to him, and pick his brain, like, and just his mind, his thoughts. I think he was the master.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, I gotta just say one last note. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you,
I think to know where you started and to see where you're at today, it's really something. I mean, it really is. I know I was writing along with you for a lot of the journey, up until the last couple of years when we've grown up, and I got a family now. You got a little family.
Yeah.
Our careers are taking their own paths, but we were together for a long time. So I got to see the ins and the outs and the ups and the downs and the beginnings of it. But you're always inspiring, always fun. We always drink beer together, and it's a lot of fun. Sometimes it's too much fun. And then you're always working on the next thing. You're always pushing forward, and it's inspiring. So
thank you for having me, and this has been fun.
Awesome. Love you, brother, and be
Love
safe.
You, man.
Be safe over in London.
I will do
Make it back. Live.
I will do it.
All right.
All right.
All right. And thanks to everybody for listening to this week's episode. Have a great week. Have a great weekend.
Maybe we can do one after the show, and then in a couple months or something, and recap on
See
that.
how it went. That'd be awesome.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. See what's coming down the line for Art Basel and Christmas.
Right. Yeah.
Christmas season. But for people who want to follow you, Instagram is your most prominent platform.
Yeah. At Iam.Cooper. That's all I got right now. I'm just.
Yep.
That's it. I don't have.
That's all you really need.
I don't have a website. I don't have anything. Just that right now. So
that's all you need. Any closing remarks? Anything you want to say to anybody else who's listening?
I'd say whatever it is, keep going. That's all you can do.
Yep. I'm with you. All right. Until next time. All right. Everybody have a great week. Thanks for listening.